Welcome everyone, I'm Jordan Sharp. As we roll along this NFL offseason, it's time to start taking a look at some different player props across the sports books. And one at Bet365, the most receiving yards prop this season is looking very wide open. I think I have three good players here that not only have a good chance at being the #1 overall receiver, but also have extremely good value from Bet365. We'll start off with Demaryius Thomas, who finished 4th last year behind several guys. Josh Gordon, of course, the #1 guy from last year, but this year, Demaryius Thomas looking really good at plus 750 at Bet365 to lead the league in receiving yards. No more Eric Decker, leaves about 1,300 yards and a ton of targets to be divvied up between Emmanuel Sanders, Julius Thomas, and of course Demaryius. But I think Demaryius Thomas is absolutely going to get the bulk of those targets, and if he can just up his target number from about 30 or 40, for about 20 or 30 even from last season, I think he has a very good shot at leading the league in receiving. Out of the eight top receivers last year, of course he finished 4th, but he did it in the least amount of targets, and he obviously had the most yards after the catch of any wide receiver in football last year, and also of those top 8 receivers, only behind our next guy on my list in catch rate. And so I think Demaryius Thomas is absolutely a very good bet here. It's plus 750. Now, the next guy on my list, Antonio Brown, plus 1,800 this season to lead the league in receiving. Of course, he finished 2nd last year, right behind Josh Gordon. And with no Emmanuel Sanders left in town, now he's up plaguing Demaryius Thomas. I think Brown is absolutely undervalued here at plus 1,800. Excuse me, there's no way there are 7 other receivers that are going to be better than Antonio Brown, I think, when it comes to yards this season. Even though the Steelers aren't going to have to pass as much, so I think they're going to be a better team, better balanced team this season. I think Brown has a very good shot at getting a ton of targets, another 100 balls, and probably another 1,500 yards. If Marcus Wheaton can demand some respect on the other side in the slot, I think Antonio Brown's actually going to have a bang-up year. Remember, Ben Roethlisberger had a pretty solid season last year, and Antonio Brown quietly, of course, the 2nd best receiver in football, so don't sleep on him at plus 1,800. Now, my final guy on this list is a little bit surprising, I think, but Jordy Nelson, I think, has a really good chance to potentially jump into that top 3 and fight for the #1 overall receiver in football this season. And at Bet365, plus 2,500 would be the payout if indeed Jordy Nelson did lead the league in receiving this season. He was 10th in 2013, but that was, of course, sharing the field with James Jones some and working in the slot some as well. So with him moving strictly over to being the X receiver for Aaron Rodgers, and Rodgers is healthy this entire season, Jordy Nelson absolutely has a great chance here. Obviously, James Jones didn't get a whole lot of yards last year, but mostly I think that was because of Aaron Rodgers being hurt for half the season. And if Jordy Nelson is also another guy like Demaryius Thomas, that if he can get his targets up another 20 or 30 this season from last year, he could have enter the 150 target range, produce around 1,500 yards, and be really, I think, very close to that top spot overall in receivers. So I think it's a very steal of a value if Rodgers stay healthy for this entire season at plus 2,500. That'll do it for me this time. Make sure you check out some of my NFL other prop bet picks here, especially the most passing yards prop from Bet365 as well. But until then, I'm Jordan Sharp, and this has been another edition of the Sharp Pick.